Ever wonder how to pull up Portage County court records without dropping a single dime? Well, whether you're running a background check, digging into local history, or just trying to track down your own legal paperwork, hunting for these records can honestly feel like looking for a needle in a digital haystack. But hey, don't sweat it, you're in the exact right place. We're going to dive straight into this explainer and walk through the ultimate guide to accessing these records completely for free. We're taking it step by step, so even if you've never done this before, you'll be able to follow along and actually get some real practical use out of this. But right out of the gate, we've got a pretty massive twist. If you just go and type Portage County court records into a search engine, you might actually end up looking at completely the wrong state. You've got to know whether you're searching for Portage County, Ohio, or Portage County, Wisconsin. See, in the US, there are exactly 2 counties with this name. And even though they both share some cool historical roots tied to old pioneer portage routes, they have entirely different legal frameworks, different state constitutions, and, most importantly for us today, completely separate digital record-keeping systems. So here's our game plan for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the tale of the 2 counties. Then, we'll break down how to actually understand public court records. After that, we'll navigate Ohio's Court View portal, followed by a look at Wisconsin's CCAP system. We'll wrap things up with some troubleshooting and expert tips, and finally run through a few essential disclaimers. All right, let's jump right into part 1, a tale of 2 counties. It's actually really interesting how these 2 counties run totally separate digital setups. Over on the Ohio side, their main online portal runs on Court View software, which you can find at services.portageco.com/eservices. And their digital coverage is honestly fantastic. It stretches all the way back to 1992. Now, on the flip side, Wisconsin uses a statewide system called WCCA, or sometimes CCAP. You'll find that one at wcca.witcourts.gov. Their full online portal integration generally covers records from about 2008 to the present. So figuring out which of these 2 camps you fall into is absolutely your critical first step. Moving right along to part 2, understanding public court records. Okay, this is absolutely crucial. You really need to understand the difference between a simple digital docket summary and the actual physical filings. Think of a docket summary like a table of contents. So say you're looking up an old traffic ticket. You're going to see the date, the specific citation, and the fine. It's basically a digital logbook showing who was involved, the charges, hearing dates, and the final judgments. But the actual file documents, stuff like the police officer's written report, the PDFs of the complaints, evidence exhibits, or full transcripts, those are usually restricted online to protect people's privacy. So you generally can't just view those full PDFs for free from your couch. Let's head into part 3, navigating Ohio's Court View portal. If you're searching in the Buckeye State, finding records dating back to 1992 is actually super easy. First, you'll want to carefully type services.portageco.com/eservices into your web browser. Once you're in, you'll see a few ways to punch in your search criteria. Now, here's a quick pro tip for beginners. Less is usually more. Try starting with just a last name and a date range. It casts a much wider net, which is helpful because, hey, court clerks might have misspelled a first name 20 years ago, right? Of course, if you have the exact case number, that's even better. Just hit search, and you'll be able to review those basic docket summaries we just talked about. You know, the Ohio database is just incredibly comprehensive. It covers the common pleas court, which is where they handle the really big stuff, major felony criminal prosecutions and large civil lawsuits, plus the domestic relations division for things like divorces and custody battles. You'll also find probate court records in there, which covers estates and marriage licenses. And finally, it taps into the Ravenna and Kent municipal courts. Those are perfect for tracking down local traffic offenses, minor misdemeanors, and small claims. It really is a complete one-stop shop for Portage County, Ohio. Okay, shifting gears to part 4, searching Wisconsin's CCAP system. Fun fact, Wisconsin is actually pretty famous in legal circles for its robust online setup. They started building a voluntary database way back in 1987. To get into their modern system, just visit wcca.witcourts.gov. Now, it's going to prompt you to click I agree to their terms of service before you can do anything. Don't let that scare you off, it's totally standard protocol. Navigating the portal itself is really straightforward. But keep this expert tip from their official site in mind. If you're ever stuck or having trouble pulling up a case, try searching by first and last name only. Just clear out any middle initials or date filters, because sometimes those extra details just confuse the search engine. Once you get your search results, you'll be looking at trial-level matters resolved at the circuit court level. Their administrative center is actually physically located at the Portage County Courthouse in Stevens Point. You're going to see summaries for civil and criminal cases, family law, small claims, probate, and even traffic violations. And because the whole system is so highly centralized, it makes doing remote research an absolute breeze. It literally saves you from having to drive all the way out to Stevens Point just to check on a simple case status.
Next up, Part 5, Troubleshooting and Expert Tips.
So what exactly happens when you hit a digital dead end? Maybe a record is confidential or the actual PDF is blocked online. Look, we all know court websites can sometimes feel a bit clunky or just downright confusing if you aren't used to them. So we've gathered some offline retrieval channels to help you smash right through those roadblocks. Because at the end of the day, remember, the online portal is really just a digital window into a physical file room.
If you find out you actually need the physical paper documents, you are going to have to pay a small fee. While browsing the online dockets is totally free in both states, getting your hands on physical or certified copies requires a formal request and a standardized administrative fee. In Ohio, it's remarkably cheap, literally just 10 cents a page for non-certified copies. That's probably the best bargain you'll ever find in the legal system. And it's just $1 a page if you need the official certified stamp. Over in Wisconsin, you should expect a flat $5 standard administrative fee for certified copies, plus a tiny per-page duplication cost. So, how do you actually get your hands on them? Well, you can totally step out of the digital weeds and use some great offline resources. In Wisconsin, there's a dedicated public computer kiosk set up right on the second floor of the Stevens Point Courthouse on Church Street. You can also just send a formal electronic request to their regional email setup. For Ohio, you can walk in and use the public terminals at the Ravenna or Kent Clerk of Court's offices. Oh, and here's a massive expert tip. Before you ever go in person or shoot off an email, take strict notes of your search criteria. Literally write down the exact case numbers and party names you found during your free online search. Handing that exact info to a clerk will save absolutely everyone time, and it guarantees you get the exact files you're looking for. And finally, Part 6, Essential Disclaimers and our conclusion.
It is absolutely critical to keep in mind that this explainer is strictly for informational and educational purposes. Court dockets can be incredibly complex. To an untrained eye, a dismissed charge might look confusingly similar to an actual conviction. So you should always verify the data directly through the official court websites we've talked about today, and most importantly, this is not a substitute for legal advice. For sure, you should always consult a licensed legal professional for any serious matters, or if you need help interpreting the outcome of a specific case. So, whether you're digging into family genealogy, running a quick background check, or just exercising your right to view public records, you now have the exact blueprint for both Ohio and Wisconsin. The real question is, what surprising history or legal truths are you going to uncover in the Portage County records? Drop a comment below and share your research experiences or any questions you might have. I'd absolutely love to hear which system you guys found easier to use. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Stay organized, keep asking great questions, and happy exploring.